Imagine this. The story of who we are isn't just about modern humans evolving over thousands of years. What if it's also about an ancient species, one that vanished over 40,000 years ago but continues to influence our lives today? Yes, we're talking about Neanderthals, our ancient cousins who roamed Europe and parts of Asia long before Homo sapiens arrived on the scene. For centuries, Neanderthals were seen as primitive, a species that failed to adapt and disappeared into extinction. But recent scientific discoveries have revealed a far more fascinating story, one where the Neanderthals didn't completely disappear. Instead, they live on within us. Groundbreaking research has uncovered that most modern humans outside of Africa carry Neanderthal DNA, inherited from interbreeding between early Homo sapiens and Neanderthals tens of thousands of years ago. Once dismissed as irrelevant, this ancient DNA is now known to influence everything from our physical traits and health to behaviors and even susceptibility to certain diseases. Think about it. Traits you see in yourself or those around you. Maybe your immune response to illness, your sleep patterns, or even your hair color could be shaped by genetic contributions from a species that no longer walks the earth. But how does this work? How much of the Neanderthal is still alive in us? And what does this ancient connection tell us about evolution, survival, and the shared story of humanity? In this video, we'll explore the incredible discovery of Neanderthal DNA in modern humans and dive into how it's shaping our lives today. From groundbreaking genetic research to its surprising implications for medicine, health, and even our sense of identity, we're about to uncover the enduring legacy of a species that history forgot, but science is rediscovering. By the end of this journey, you might start seeing yourself, and humanity as a whole, in a completely new light. Are you ready to uncover the ancient secrets written in your DNA? Let's begin. To understand how Neanderthal DNA shapes us today, we first need to ask, who were the Neanderthals? The Neanderthals, or Homo neanderthalensis, were a human species that thrived in Europe and parts of Asia for hundreds of thousands of years. They first appeared around 400,000 years ago, evolving to survive in environments vastly different from the tropical origins of early humans. Picture a world of icy tundras and dense forests where survival depended on intelligence, innovation, and adaptation. Physically, Neanderthals were built for this harsh environment. They were shorter and stockier than modern humans, with broad noses, robust bones, and powerful muscles that allowed them to endure cold climates and physically demanding tasks. Their brains were as large as, if not larger than, ours, suggesting that they were highly intelligent and capable of complex thought. But Neanderthals weren't just brutes or survivalists. They were remarkably sophisticated. They used advanced tools, crafted from stone and bone, to hunt animals like mammoths and deer. They mastered fire, built shelters, and even buried their dead, a sign of symbolic thinking and possibly early spirituality. And their creativity didn't stop there. Evidence suggests that Neanderthals made art, decorated themselves with jewelry, and used pigments for body paint. These weren't the actions of a primitive species. They were behaviors that demonstrate culture and self-expression. So, what happened to them? About 40,000 years ago, Neanderthals disappeared from the archaeological record. For decades, their extinction was a mystery, and theories abounded. Did climate change wipe them out? Did competition with Homo sapiens drive them to extinction? Or was it something more complex? The answer lies somewhere in between. While environmental changes and competition played a role, we now know that Neanderthals didn't vanish entirely. They interbred with modern humans. This genetic mixing was most likely sporadic and regional, occurring as small populations of Homo sapiens migrated out of Africa and into Neanderthal territories in Europe and Asia. Far from disappearing, the Neanderthals became part of us. Today, up to 4% of the DNA in non-African populations can be traced back to Neanderthals. This discovery, made possible by sequencing the Neanderthal genome in 2010, fundamentally changed how we view them and how we understand ourselves. The story of the Neanderthals isn't just about extinction. It's about connection. They weren't our rivals. They were our ancestors, shaping humanity in ways we're only beginning to comprehend. So, as we delve deeper into their DNA's influence, keep this in mind. The Neanderthals weren't some distant other. They were part of the human journey. A reminder that the lines between species, survival, and legacy are far more intertwined than we ever imagined. For most of modern history, the idea that humans could carry DNA from an extinct species sounded impossible. But in 2010, that changed forever. Scientists, led by geneticist Svante Pääbo, sequenced the Neanderthal genome, comparing it to modern human DNA. What they discovered stunned the world. Traces of Neanderthal DNA were present in nearly every human population outside of Africa. Let's rewind to understand how this discovery came about. Tens of thousands of years ago, as Homo sapiens migrated out of Africa, they encountered Neanderthals living in Europe and Asia. These encounters weren't just fleeting. Some of them led to interbreeding. While the extent of these interactions is still debated, we know they left a lasting imprint. Today, between 1 to 4% of the DNA in non-African humans comes from Neanderthals. Why don't we see this genetic influence in sub-Saharan Africans? The answer lies in migration patterns. Neanderthals evolved in Europe and Asia, and their range never extended into sub-Saharan Africa. Modern humans who remained in Africa didn't encounter them, and therefore didn't inherit their genes. However, almost everyone whose ancestors left Africa tens of thousands of years ago carries a genetic legacy from Neanderthals. The discovery of Neanderthal DNA wasn't just a breakthrough for genetics. It fundamentally reshaped our understanding of human evolution. For centuries, Neanderthals were portrayed as evolutionary dead ends, a species that disappeared while modern humans thrived. This new evidence flipped the narrative. Rather than being rivals, Neanderthals were part of our story, contributing to the genetic diversity of modern humans. So, how do we know which parts of our DNA came from Neanderthals? Geneticists identify segments of DNA in modern humans that match Neanderthal genomes, but differ from African ancestral DNA. These matching sequences tell a fascinating story about the traits we inherited and the evolutionary pressures that shaped our ancestors. One key question remains: why did interbreeding happen at all? Some researchers believe it was simply a result of small populations encountering each other. Survival and reproduction often went hand in such contexts. Others argue that interbreeding provided an evolutionary advantage. Neanderthals had adapted to European and Asian environments over hundreds of thousands of years, and their genes may have given early Homo sapiens crucial tools to survive in these regions. Today, Neanderthal DNA isn't just a historical curiosity. It's a living part of us. It influences our immune systems, our physical traits, and even our susceptibility to certain diseases. But this isn't just about biology. It's about rewriting history. The discovery of Neanderthal DNA reminds us that humanity's journey wasn't linear or isolated. It was messy, interconnected, and full of unexpected turns. As we dig deeper into this genetic legacy, one thing becomes clear. The story of humanity is far more complex and far more interconnected than we ever imagined. Neanderthal DNA, though a small percentage of our genetic makeup, continues to leave its mark on modern humans in fascinating ways. One of the most visible influences is in our physical traits. Certain genes inherited from Neanderthals helped early humans adapt to colder and less sunny environments as they migrated out of Africa. These adaptations include lighter skin tones, which improve the body's ability to produce vitamin D in regions with lower sunlight. Even characteristics like hair texture and color, including the possibility of red hair, have been linked to Neanderthal ancestry. The impact of Neanderthal DNA goes far deeper than appearance. Our immune systems carry their legacy, shaped by genes that provided early humans with protection against unfamiliar pathogens in Europe and Asia. These inherited defenses were crucial for survival in ancient times, giving early Homo sapiens a fighting chance against diseases they had never encountered before. However, these same genetic traits can have downsides. Some Neanderthal genes have been linked to autoimmune conditions, where the immune system mistakenly attacks healthy cells, leading to diseases like lupus and Crohn's disease. Even today, traces of Neanderthal DNA have been associated with how modern humans respond to certain illnesses. During the COVID-19 pandemic, researchers found that some Neanderthal-derived genes could increase susceptibility to severe symptoms, while others seemed to offer protective benefits. Beyond health, Neanderthal DNA may also influence our behaviors and cognitive traits. For instance, some genes tied to our ancient relatives affect sleep patterns, particularly in regions where long winters and short daylight hours were common. Other studies suggest a possible connection between Neanderthal DNA and mood regulation, hinting at a role in conditions like depression and anxiety. Interestingly, these inherited genetic fragments might also contribute to creativity and problem-solving abilities, traits that were crucial for survival in harsh environments and continue to define humanity today. Many of these inherited traits reflect evolutionary trade-offs. The same genes that helped ancient humans survive in environments with scarce resources, such as those that enhance fat storage, can now contribute to modern health challenges like obesity. Similarly, immune system genes that offer protection against deadly infections in the past might now be responsible for heightened inflammatory responses, leading to allergies or chronic conditions. Neanderthal DNA is more than just a relic of the past. It's a living influence on who we are. From the way our bodies fight disease to how we think, feel, and adapt to our surroundings, these ancient genetic fragments remind us of a shared history that continues to shape us in profound ways. Neanderthal DNA isn't just a fascinating glimpse into our evolutionary past. It's also shaping the future of modern medicine. By studying the genetic traits inherited from our ancient cousins, scientists are uncovering new ways to understand and treat human health. One of the most significant contributions of Neanderthal DNA is its role in how our bodies respond to diseases. Some of the genes passed down from Neanderthals are directly tied to our immune system. These genes gave early humans an advantage by helping them fight off unfamiliar pathogens as they migrated into new environments. Today, this same DNA continues to influence how we respond to illnesses. For example, certain Neanderthal genes are linked to heightened immune responses, which can protect against infections, but also increase the risk of autoimmune diseases. These genetic insights have practical implications for modern medicine. During the COVID-19 pandemic, researchers identified a cluster of Neanderthal genes associated with an increased risk of severe symptoms. At the same time, other Neanderthal-derived genetic variants appeared to provide some level of protection against the virus. These findings demonstrate how studying ancient DNA can help us better understand current health challenges and develop targeted treatments. Neanderthal DNA also offers clues about chronic conditions that affect millions of people today. Genetic variants inherited from Neanderthals have been linked to conditions such as type 2 diabetes, lupus, and Crohn's disease. While these genes might have been beneficial in the past, for instance, helping ancient humans store fat for survival during times of scarcity, they now contribute to health issues in a modern world where food is abundant. This knowledge is paving the way for personalized medicine. By identifying which Neanderthal genes are present in an individual's DNA, doctors may one day tailor treatments to better suit their genetic profile. For example, someone with inherited Neanderthal immune system traits might benefit from specific therapies designed to modulate inflammation or prevent autoimmune reactions. Beyond treating diseases, studying Neanderthal DNA helps researchers explore how humans have adapted to their environments over time. These genetic fragments provide a map of how ancient populations evolved to survive in diverse climates and conditions. By understanding these evolutionary adaptations, scientists can develop new strategies for addressing modern health challenges, from infectious diseases to the impact of climate change on human biology. Neanderthal DNA is a powerful tool for understanding not only where we come from, but also where we're headed. As researchers continue to explore this ancient genetic legacy, they're uncovering insights that have the potential to transform medicine and improve lives in ways we're only beginning to imagine. The discovery of Neanderthal DNA in modern humans has not only reshaped our understanding of the past, but also offered profound insights into human evolution. These genetic fragments are evidence of a shared history, challenging the long-held belief that Neanderthals were simply a failed species. Instead, they reveal a story of adaptation, survival, and connection. Neanderthal DNA shows how interbreeding with other human species gave Homo sapiens an evolutionary advantage. As modern humans migrated out of Africa into Europe and Asia, They encountered Neanderthals, who had already spent hundreds of thousands of years adapting to these colder, harsher climates. By interbreeding, early Homo sapiens inherited beneficial traits that helped them survive in these new environments. For example, genes associated with skin pigmentation, immune response, and even metabolism were likely passed down from Neanderthals, enabling modern humans to thrive in regions with less sunlight and a different range of pathogens. This blending of DNA wasn't just a chance occurrence. It was a pivotal moment in human evolution. It allowed Homo sapiens to diversify and spread more rapidly across the globe. The ability to integrate and adapt by sharing genetic traits highlights a remarkable flexibility that has always been a hallmark of human survival. But perhaps the most transformative impact of this discovery is what it tells us about the interconnectedness of human history. The presence of Neanderthal DNA in modern humans serves as a reminder that the boundaries between species were not as rigid as we once believed. Neanderthals weren't our competitors. They were part of the same evolutionary story. Their contributions are woven into the fabric of who we are today. This finding also forces us to rethink the traditional pure human narrative, where Homo sapiens are seen as a distinct, isolated species. Instead, we now understand that human evolution was a complex and intertwined process involving multiple species, each contributing to the genetic mosaic of modern humans. This realization challenges the idea of linear progress in evolution and instead presents a web of connections that underscores our shared ancestry. The story of Neanderthal DNA isn't just about the past. It also raises questions about what it means to be human. If our species has always been shaped by blending and adaptation, then diversity and interconnectedness are not exceptions, they're the rule. This perspective shifts the focus from competition to collaboration, showing how ancient humans worked together, intentionally or not, to ensure survival. Neanderthal DNA has transformed our understanding of evolution from a rigid, species-specific process to a dynamic, fluid exchange of traits and ideas. It's a legacy that reminds us of our resilience, adaptability, and the shared bonds that connect all of humanity, past and present. While Neanderthals have left a significant mark on modern humans, they weren't the only ancient human species to contribute to our genetic story. Alongside them were the Denisovans, another enigmatic group of archaic humans whose influence can still be found in certain populations today. The discovery of Denisovan DNA has expanded our understanding of human evolution, revealing yet another layer of complexity in our shared history. Denisovans were first identified in 2010 when scientists extracted DNA from a fragment of a finger bone found in Denisova Cave in Siberia. Unlike Neanderthals, there are no complete skeletons or even clear physical descriptions of Denisovans. Instead, their story is told entirely through their genetic legacy, which reveals an extraordinary impact on modern humans, particularly in parts of Asia and the Pacific. One of the most fascinating contributions of Denisovan DNA is seen in populations like the Sherpas and Tibetans, who have inherited genes that allow them to thrive at high altitudes. A Denisovan-derived gene, EPAS1, helps regulate oxygen levels in the blood, enabling these populations to live and work in low-oxygen environments without experiencing altitude sickness. This adaptation is a striking example of how ancient interbreeding gave modern humans an edge in specific environments. Denisovan DNA is also present in significant amounts in indigenous populations of Australia, Papua New Guinea, and other Pacific islands. In some of these populations, Denisovan DNA makes up as much as 5 to 6% of their genome, a higher proportion than the Neanderthal DNA found in most non-African populations. This indicates that Denisovans, like Neanderthals, interbred extensively with early Homo sapiens, leaving a lasting genetic legacy. The influence of Denisovans doesn't end with adaptation to specific environments. Their DNA has also contributed to immune system diversity. Much like Neanderthal DNA, these genetic fragments helped early humans survive new pathogens as they moved into uncharted territories. However, as with Neanderthal genes, Denisovan DNA also presents evolutionary trade-offs, potentially influencing susceptibility to certain modern diseases. Beyond Denisovans, there's growing evidence of other archaic human species that interacted with Homo sapiens. Genetic studies have hinted at unknown ghost populations, whose DNA fragments exist in modern humans, but don't match any known species like Neanderthals or Denisovans. These discoveries suggest that human evolution was even more interconnected and multifaceted than we currently understand. As we uncover more about these ancient interactions, one thing becomes clear. The story of human evolution isn't a simple timeline. It's a complex web of relationships between multiple species, each contributing to the genetic diversity we see today. These exchanges didn't just shape our biology. They also highlight the shared resilience and adaptability that define what it means to be human. By studying Denisovan DNA and other ancient influences, we're piecing together a broader picture of how ancient humans cooperated, blended, and thrived. This interconnected history reminds us that humanity's strength has always come from collaboration, even across the boundaries of species. The discovery of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA in modern humans offers more than just insights into ancient history. It transforms how we understand ourselves and what it means to be human. These findings highlight a simple yet profound truth. Humanity has always been interconnected, shaped by blending, adaptation, and shared experiences. The presence of ancient DNA in modern humans reminds us that our species' survival was never about isolation or superiority. Instead, it was about collaboration and resilience. Early humans didn't conquer the Neanderthals or Denisovans. They coexisted, interbred, and exchanged traits that helped them adapt to an ever-changing world. This genetic mixing wasn't a weakness. It was a strength. It ensured that the best traits from multiple species were carried forward, helping Homo sapiens thrive in environments that might have otherwise been insurmountable. In many ways, this ancient legacy challenges how we think about identity. We often define ourselves by boundaries, biological, cultural, or geographical, but the story of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA blurs those lines. It shows us that our ancestors were part of a global community long before the concept of nations or borders existed. They exchanged not just genes, but knowledge, tools, and ideas that shaped the course of human evolution. This interconnected history also has profound implications for how we approach modern challenges. From climate change to global health crises, humanity's greatest strength has always been its ability to adapt and work together. The ancient lessons embedded in our DNA remind us that diversity and collaboration are key to survival, not just in the past, but also in the present and future. The enduring mystery of ancient DNA also inspires curiosity. What other stories are hidden within us, waiting to be discovered? What can these genetic fragments teach us about resilience, creativity, and the shared human experience? As science advances, we may uncover even more about how the past continues to shape us in ways we've only begun to imagine. Ultimately, the legacy of Neanderthals and Denisovans isn't just about the DNA they left behind. It's about how that DNA connects us to a broader story of humanity. It's a reminder that the traits we carry, the challenges we face, and the strengths we draw on are part of a lineage that spans millennia. Neanderthals and Denisovans may no longer walk the earth, but their influence endures in every heartbeat, every breath, and every achievement of modern humans. As we learn more about this ancient legacy, one thing becomes clear: the past is never truly gone. It lives on within us, shaping who we are and reminding us of our place in the vast, interconnected story of life on Earth.